Ada had known what Lagos had in store for her, she would have held on to her mother's wrapper and never let go. But at that moment, standing under the scorching village sun with a small bag slung over her shoulder, she was certain Lagos was calling her, and she was ready to answer. "Ada, my daughter," her mother said, watching her with tired eyes. "Are you sure about this? You don't know what your friend is doing in Lagos." "I'll be fine, Mama. Sandra is doing well. She said she will help me find work." "Not everything that shines is gold. If things do not feel right, please come home." Ada nodded, but in her heart she had no plans of coming back. She had spent her whole life in the village, watching others leave and return with fine clothes and plenty of stories. Now, it was her turn. Just some days ago, the sun was hot that afternoon, the kind of heat that made people sit under mango trees, fanning themselves with old newspapers. But Ada had no time to rest. She balanced a bucket of water on her head, her legs moving quickly over the dusty path leading home. As she walked past Mama Nkechi's shop, she slowed down. A small crowd had gathered, whispering and pointing at something or someone. Ada adjusted the bucket on her head and moved closer. It was Amara. Amara had left the village for Lagos 2 years ago. Now she was back, wearing a bright red dress, gold earrings that sparkled under the sun, and a wig that swung when she turned her head. She looked different, fresh, polished, like someone who had eaten good food and slept on a soft bed. "Lagos don't change this one," someone muttered. Ada's heart pounded with excitement. She had always admired Amara. Before she left, they used to fetch water together, complain about how hard village life was, and dream about escaping to the city. Now here she was, standing like a Lagos madam, tossing money at the little children who ran after her, laughing. Ada's mind was made up at that moment. She needed to leave. She couldn't keep waking up before the sun, running to the stream and coming back to help her mother fry akara, just to make ends meet. Lagos was calling her, and she was ready to answer. She hurried home, her heart racing, already imagining herself stepping out of a bus in Lagos, dressed just like Amara, walking like someone who had arrived. If only she knew. And then, days later, she boarded a rickety bus to Lagos, excitement bubbling inside her. The journey was long, the roads were bumpy, but nothing could kill her enthusiasm. She imagined the city welcoming her with open arms, ready to transform her life. She had no idea Lagos had a different plan. The moment Ada stepped into Sandra's apartment, she felt like she had entered another world. The house smelled of expensive perfume. The chairs were soft, the lights glowed warmly. It was nothing like her mother's old hut in the village. Sandra squealed when she saw her. "Ada, my baby girl, welcome to Lagos." She looked different, lighter skinned, expensive wig, shiny nails. Lagos had changed her. For the first few days, everything was like a dream. Sandra took Ada to eat at fancy restaurants, bought her new clothes, and even gave her money to hold body. But soon, Ada started noticing things. Sandra never stayed home at night. She would dress up in revealing clothes, wear heavy makeup, and leave the house in high heels. At first, Ada did not ask questions. Maybe Sandra had a job. Maybe she was just enjoying city life. But when days turned into weeks, and Ada was still sitting at home with nothing to do, she started to wonder. One evening, as Sandra was dressing up, Ada finally asked, "Where do you go every night?" "At the hustle." "What kind of hustle?" "When you're ready to make real money, you will understand." Then she winked and walked away, leaving Ada confused. Days turned into weeks. Ada did nothing all day except watch TV, eat and sleep. The money Sandra had given her was running out. She wanted to work, but Sandra never mentioned any job. Then the pressure started. One evening, Sandra sat beside her and placed a bundle of cash on the table. "Ada, how long will you sit in this house doing nothing? You are a fine girl. Lagos is for sharp babes, not dull ones." I don't know how to. Nobody knew how to do anything at first. "You will learn." Ada hesitated. It was tempting. The money was tempting. The thought of sending money home to her mother was tempting. But then, something strange happened. The next day, she told Sandra, "I don't think I can do what you do." Then stay broke. Ada sat on a thin mattress in Sandra's one-room apartment, staring at the peeling ceiling. The excitement she had felt about Lagos had dried up. Days had turned into weeks and she had done nothing but sit inside, watching Sandra come and go like the wind. Her stomach rumbled. She had eaten only bread and coke that morning, and Sandra had left again without dropping any money. She needed to go home. She picked up a small bag and checked inside. 2 wrappers, a pair of slippers, and the little money she had left. It wasn't enough for transport, but maybe she could call Mama and ask her to send something. She reached for Sandra's small Nokia phone on the table and dialed. The call barely rang before her mother picked up. "Ada, you finally remember you have a mother?" "Mama, I want to come home." "You want to come home after all the noise you made about Lagos? You said you were going to make it. Now what happened?" Ada blinked back tears. She couldn't say it. She couldn't explain the hunger, the boredom, the way Sandra kept trying to drag her into a life she did not want. "Mama, please, I just need transport money." "I don't have any money, Ada. The farm has been slow. Your younger brother just started school, and things are hard. Manage where you are." The line went dead. Ada sat frozen, the phone still in her hand. A wave of hopelessness washed over her. She was stuck. Ada tried to ignore the hunger, the boredom, the temptation, but Lagos wasn't helping. One afternoon, after buying bread from a woman down the street, an elderly neighbor stopped her. "You be new girl?" "Yes, ma." "Listen well. Lagos no be for everybody. If your spirit dey warn you, listen to am. No follow road wey no get end." Ada felt chills run down her spine. That evening, Sandra returned home excited. "Ada, I have someone that wants to meet you. He's rich. Guess what? He will take care of you." "I don't want to meet anyone. Oh." "You're wasting my time." The night before Sandra's death, Ada slept fitfully. The room was hot, but she felt ice cold. In her dream, she saw Sandra standing in the middle of an empty street. She was barefoot. Her dress was torn. Her hair was wild. "Ada, help me!" Sandra's voice cracked with fear. Ada tried to run to her, but her feet wouldn't move. It was as if the ground had turned to quicksand, holding her in one place. Out of the shadows, a faceless man emerged. His hands were covered in something dark. Ada struggled, kicking and screaming as the man grabbed her by the wrist. "Ada, please, don't let them take me." Ada fought to move, to scream, to do something, but she was frozen, watching helplessly as Sandra was dragged backward into the darkness. The last thing she saw was Sandra's outstretched hands, reaching for her. Then nothing. Ada jerked awake. Her heart was pounding. Her body was drenched in sweat. Her fingers were clutching the bedsheet. She told Sandra the dream and pleaded with her to stay back this once. Sandra looked at Ada with disgust and told her that the money she fits with wasn't made by staying away. Ada tried to hide all her wigs and shoes, but Sandra just ordered new ones and swore to deal with Ada when she returns. That night was cold, but Ada's palms were sweaty. She stood by the door watching, Sandra adjusted her short dress in front of the mirror. Are you sure you don't want to come? Just one night, Ada. Quick cash. Ada hesitated. Hunger was gnawing at her stomach. Her slippers were worn out. She had no money, no job, no plan. Maybe just this once. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. A loud knock made them both freeze. Then a desperate voice outside the door. Open! Open the door, I beg. Sandra rushed to open it. Amaka, one of Sandra's friends, stumbled in, panting. What happened? They nearly carry me go. The man wey we follow, he lock door. He said we no go comot till him and his friends finish. If I no pretend say I wan use toilet and jump fence, I for no dey here now. Ada's stomach turned. You no get sense, eh? Sandra hissed. Why you go follow clients wey you no know? Sandra, this one no be normal client. These men, they no be ordinary. Ada's legs felt weak. Her fingers loosened around the scarf she was holding. She turned back to her mattress and she sat down slowly. She wasn't going anywhere tonight. Not ever. The next day, Ada woke up to a phone call. A deep voice on the other end asked, Do you know Sandra? Yes. Yes. She's my friend. Please, who is this? This is from the police station. You need to come. Ada felt like her legs would give way. At the station, the air was heavy with bad news. The police broke the news, but Ada went home immediately after that because she could not comprehend it. That night, Ada sat on the edge of the bed, staring at Sandra's empty side of the room. The air smelled of her perfume, but she was gone. Forever. The police call had come that morning. Sandra's body was found dumped near the ravine at Oshodi Main Market. Just like that. No explanation, no warning, no second chances. Ada's hands trembled as she clutched her wrapper. She wanted to cry, but the tears wouldn't come. She felt hollow, like something inside her had broken. When she got to the police station, Sandra's lifeless body was stretched on a cold slab, covered with a thin cloth. Ada almost collapsed. The face that used to laugh, tease, and beg her to just try one night was now stiff. It was empty. She was used. One of the officers muttered, Dem don't take wetin dem want. They come through where I'm like trash. Ada's stomach twisted. She had heard stories. Girls who left at night and never returned. Bodies found in gutters, missing organs. She just never thought it would be Sandra. She took Sandra's phone and dialed the only number she knew. Sandra's mother. Mama Sandra. Sandra is. She's gone. The wailing that followed made Ada's chest tighten.
Hey!
She stood there, gripping the phone as the woman screamed over and over, asking the same question. Ada had no answer to it. Why? By evening, Sandra's parents arrived. Her mother collapsed at the sight of the body, and her father's face was stone cold, his grief locked inside. They carried her away, back to the village. Ada did not wait another night. She packed her small bag, took the little money Sandra's mother pressed into her hand, and boarded the next bus home. Lagos had chewed her up and spat her out. She was going back home, empty-handed, yes, but alive. Ada did not need another warning, and as she sat in the bus heading back to the village, she thought about all the months she had spent in Lagos, months wasted, dreams shattered. Her mother was waiting when she arrived. She did not say, "I told you so." She just hugged Ada tightly, as if afraid to let her go again. The village had not changed. The air still smelled of burning firewood. Children still ran barefoot on the dusty paths, and the sun still set behind the same old palm trees. But Ada had changed. Days later, she sat under the big mango tree in front of her mother's house, watching a group of young girls giggling and whispering. Their voices floated towards her. I heard Amaka is now driving a car in Lagos. Yes, so, and she wears wigs that touch her waist. I swear, if I get the chance, I will leave this village. No man will use me to fry akara like my mother. The words hit Ada like a slap. She had once spoken just like that, once dreamed of escaping, and she had escaped, only to return with nothing but scars no one could see. She cleared her throat. Lagos is not what you think. The girls turned to her surprised. Ada looked at them, young, full of dreams, full of hunger for a life they did not understand. She had been there once. If someone had told her the truth, maybe things would have been different. She took a deep breath. Let me tell you a story. As she spoke, the giggling stopped. The whispers faded. The girls leaned in, listening to every word. By the time she was done, their faces had changed. The excitement in their eyes had turned to fear. One of them, the boldest, swallowed hard. So Auntie Sandra died? Yes, and I almost followed her. There was silence in the compound. Slowly, one of the girls stood up, dusted her wrapper and turned away. I'm not going anywhere again, no. The others nodded, murmuring to themselves as they walked away. Ada leaned back against the tree, exhaling. She had come back empty-handed, but today, she had saved someone, maybe even more than one. And for the first time since she returned, she felt whole. Ada started life afresh. She began selling food in the market, earning little but honest money. Shine your eyes before you enter a road you cannot come back from.